Well, we're coming down to the final nitty-gritty here. 2 weeks left in the regular season, and Texas really has to win both games and make it to the SEC title game if they want to stay in the 12-team college football playoff bracket. That sounds crazy, but I think it's true. Let's talk about it next. Hey everybody, Brian Davis covering the Texas Longhorns for A to Z Sports. And I look at the CFP bracket every Tuesday night when it's released on ESPN, and Texas looks like they're in a pretty good spot. They're ranked number 3 in the rankings, but they are seeded number 2. As of right now, the CFP committee thinks that Texas is going to win the SEC. And you know what? If you're a Longhorn fan, you're probably planning on that too. That's what Steve Sarkisian's planning on doing. Wants to win the next 2 games, beat Kentucky, beat A&M, go win the SEC, bing, bang, boom, it's done, right? Texas absolutely controls its own destiny. But let's look at the other side of the coin just in case, right? I think it's totally possible, very, very possible, that if Texas somehow stumbles against Kentucky or A&M, I think they will get dropped completely out of the 12-team bracket overall. The way you look at the national narrative has been building that Texas does not have a quote-unquote quality win. Personally, I think that's BS. I think you're in the SEC. It's either a good league or it's not. This is the same argument that Indiana currently has. I think it's bogus that an undefeated Indiana team is sitting there going, well, all of a sudden not playing in the Big Ten is not legitimate, that's BS as well. But nonetheless, I think that the narrative is going to build to where if Texas, again, if they lose to a 4-6 Kentucky team, they're going to get knocked down very hard. If they somehow if they beat Kentucky but then lose to A&M will then advance to the SEC title game, and Texas will get knocked down. I'm just not convinced that Texas is in if they somehow lose the next 2 weeks. Now, let's fast forward to Atlanta. Let's say that Texas does get to Atlanta, okay? And let's say they play Alabama, which is currently the team that leads all the other tiebreakers. If the season ended today, it would be Texas and Alabama. If Alabama won the SEC championship game, in my mind, it is simply unfathomable that the SEC runner-up would not make a 12-team playoff, right? That's what I think. I think if you're Greg Sankey, you're going to have a very, very hard time not going ballistic if your SEC runner-up is not in the 12-team playoff. The problem is that Texas will get knocked down, and then they're going to be around Georgia, right? They're going to say, well, they got 2 losses, but Georgia beat them head-to-head. You've also got Tennessee hanging around on the fringes down there as well. There's going to be a lot of jockeying for that. I do not buy the Lane Kiffin argument that it's better to not make the SEC title game and still make the CFP. I think that's a loser's mentality. I think that's bogus. And I'm glad Steve Sarkisian kind of dunked on that idea during an ESPN radio interview. I just think this is it's funny, crazy times. All of this talk is what has made this 12-team playoff some of the most exciting football here in November we've seen in a really long time. A lot of teams are still in it, and everyone is angling to get into that bracket. I thought it was most interesting that Boise State would be the 4th seed and get that first round bye for Tuesday's rankings. A lot of football left. 2 weeks left of the regular season. Texas needs to go get a win against Kentucky this week. Don't worry about A&M. Don't worry about the CFP. Just go knock off a 4-6 Kentucky team, the Fighting Mark Stoops, and then go on to next week, and you got a big one against A&M. So there you go. For all of the Texas Longhorn coverage, A2Zsports.com/Longhorns. You know where to come find me. You know it's free. No subscription needed. No paywall. No paywall over here. A2Zsports.com/Longhorns. We'll have everything about the Kentucky game there whenever you want it. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We really appreciate you doing that. But as for now, that's it. I'm Brian, and we'll catch you next time.